Hello, basketball fans. It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you break down the waiver wire for Week 11. Sorry it's coming out a little later on Sunday than we tried to do, or even last week we asked for Saturday, but with the holiday yesterday and we had a family thing today, it had to wait. And it's probably good that it had to wait because there were some changes. I stayed up last night on Christmas and broke things down to try and get this video ready, and health and safety protocols and other things to say. So let's start at the top. I always try to stay below 50% to make it as useful as I can for most leagues. I know that I have viewers that are playing in like 18 leagues, so I don't always have to go as deep. And even if you aren't, here's some guys that are above 50% that you should take a look. Patty Mills, I know I've talked about him on and off the season. He's 60% rostered, so he's available in 40% of leagues. He just had 8 threes on Christmas Day. He had a really good game. He's better in points leagues than he is in category leagues, in my opinion. But he's worth picking up in point league and just kind of roll with it. Brooklyn has 3 games this week, but they're all good streaming days. So if you can get him in there, you'll get to play him on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Jalen Green is finally back for the Rockets and came out in a big way. Playing against Indiana the other night, he had 6 threes for 20 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block, though. It's not a full stat sheet, but I think it may even out. You might not get 2 steals and a block every game, but you should be able to get a couple more rebounds and assists on there. So I think it's interesting in category leagues. I think the 6 threes is maybe a little inflated. Obviously, you never expect someone to average that many, even Steph. What's he at now? 68% rostered. So again, like 30% of leagues you could get him. People probably dropped him because he was out for so long. He's worth scooping up. And then Josh Hart has been playing really well. He just played Orlando on the 23rd and had 22, 5, 5, and a steal. He had 4 threes. And now on top of that, Ingram left tonight with an Achilles issue, tonight being the 26th. I don't know that that's going to be long-term or anything, but Josh Hart was already playing well. He's already playing nearly 40 minutes a game. So he was worth being picked up anyway with just that in mind. And now if it's possible they're down from Ingram, Hart might get some more usage. He's 71% rostered, so he's available in 29% of leagues. So all of those guys are over the limit, but worth noting if you're in a smaller league, or just check and make sure they're not there before we're like scraping for guys that are hot for 1 week because someone else is out due to health and safety protocols. All right, get into the guys that are available in at least half of leagues. That is somewhat changed because of health and safety protocols. I wanted to say Naz Reid. He's playing well. Cat was out because of health and safety protocols. Naz Reid just had 17 and 10, and as of today, he's also out with health and safety protocols. So that takes it off the list, 18%. If you didn't notice that, or you scooped him up already trying to plug him in for this week, be on top of it. You might want to cut bait and move on. On the other hand, the next guy on my list, who's also health and safety protocols, Onyeka Okongwu, he played really well. He came in and Atlanta had other guys out, right? Clint Capella was out and stuff. But his 3 games, he had 10 and 2. That's fine. He's only 14 because he just came back. Next game, he had 8 and 7, but he had 3 blocks, only 19 minutes. It's like, okay, you're ramping him back up. He hadn't played this year, right? And then he got 13, 8, 3 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks, 60% from the floor, didn't miss a free throw. 34 minutes, though, is what really got my attention, though. 34 minutes against Philly. Great, but he is in the protocols. So part of me wants to say, hey, if you got an extra injured slot or whatever, maybe scoop him up. But he is going to be out, so you can't really pick him up to use him for this week because he's probably going to be out for the next 2. And I also don't want to spread rumors or read too much into it, but he did tweet out a thing of like, COVID's no joke with like the little face. So I hope it didn't blow in the mic there. Anyway, that kind of implied like he might be having a rougher time with it. Obviously, people have different results, and this isn't an inside scoop, so don't run away with it. But just when that happens, maybe not everyone's going to come back like ready to go, battery fully charged, as we've seen with some players. All right, with those guys off the list, so to speak, whether they're playing or not, let's focus on who I think you could actually have this week for some good matchups. So Miami doesn't have a great streaming week because they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Those are all the higher volume days. So in weekly lock league, you're not going to care about that. They've got 4 games and they've got a really nice matchups, right? They get Washington, San Antonio, Houston, Sacramento. You like who they're facing. If you can work them in, maybe because your team has its own health and safety issues and you've got guys on the bench, Miami's got a few good options that you could pick up and play right now. So Kyle Lowry went in health and safety protocols, which means Gabe Vincent is probably going to be their main ball handler. He's been playing well anyway, and he's at 24% rostered. He's not exploding, but for a guy that you can pick up in 3/4 of leagues, he got 13, 5, and 8 and 3 threes. Before that, he had 15, 4, and 7. Before that, he had 13, 3, 2, but a steal and a block. Like, that's great for someone who's available in 3/4 of leagues. You pick him up and you get 4 games this week if you can work him into your lineup. I was a little more excited about Max Struss. He was 39% rostered. He's now up to 46. Today, before I recorded, he put up 13, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Nothing too exciting. That's the type of line where I normally say more for a points league. But the games before that, 26, 6 rebounds, a steal and an assist, 18 and 7 with 4 assists before that. That made me interested in him in both categories league and points league. I would have liked to see a little more against Orlando today, but the team won. It was a 93-83 affair. It was very low scoring by these standards. It's almost shockingly so. I think I would like either of those guys. If you're looking for the point guard, you want more of the assist numbers, go with Gabe. If you're looking more at a points league, I'm a little more interested in Max, but it depends on what you want. Also, Omar Yurtseven, or 07 as he says he can be called. I think he's an interesting pickup there too. If you're looking for a big, right now they're still out, like Bam's out. They've lost Dedmon. So he's definitely the center that's there right now. Today in that same game that I referenced, he had 16 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 assists. Now, again, it's Orlando. They're a favorable matchup. They're a team you want to go against, but don't take that away from them. You can only play the opponents you're going to play. And he got 16 points and 15 rebounds. Before that, 8 points, 12 rebounds. Before that, 8 points, 13 rebounds. Before that, 12 rebounds. Before that, 12 rebounds. He's a gifted rebounder. So if you're looking for a big man just to stack some things up, you got to get a center in there with 4 games. That's great. He's only 14% rostered. Actually, that's the number from last night. I'm looking at it live. It's 25% rostered. Either way, it's still 3/4 of leagues. He's got 4 games this week. He was on my list as a pickup before this big game anyway. And this makes me interesting. It's probably not a long-term ad, but maybe he can prove himself and work himself into that rotation even more to stay there, but maybe not someone to be staying on your fantasy roster long-term once Miami's healthy. Honestly, those 3 are really my best recommendations if you're just trying to pick someone up and try and play them this week. Otherwise, you can stream some guys here or there, but for widespread use, those were the ones that stood out that are still active and things are changing. I do want to mention Gary Harris. We've talked about him in prior weeks. He's 27% rostered. He's got 2 out of 3 games this week are good for streaming. Over the last 2 weeks, he's number 92 overall, so he's crept inside the top 100. I think he's worth the pickup with Orlando only having 3 games, but they do have 4 games next week. If he keeps playing like this, he is the type that can hang on and stay in your rotation. But I don't want to spend too much time on it because we have talked about Gary Harris in other weeks. So you've already had a chance to hear my thoughts on him and had the opportunity to pick him up other weeks. But I do want to mention only 27% rostered. He's still out there for plenty of people. Now, I've got a couple more guys on here that are trending that I'm not sure I'm ready to get on, but let's get into them. Hamidou Diallo is playing really well for Detroit. His last game for Detroit, which is today against the Spurs, he got 28 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Love that stat line. And so I like him in both points and category leagues. Before that, he had 12, 6, 5, and 2. Before that, he had 10, 6, 1, and 5 steals. So he's doing a bunch of things. And what's kind of interesting is despite him playing really well, coming on strong in the last couple weeks, his free throw percentage, because it's really poor, when you just look at a metric or say like, show me the rank over 8 categories or something, it seems low. So he's 160th overall in an 8 category league right now. But I think a big part of that is his free throw percentage over the last 2 weeks is 20%, which is terrible, but he only shoots 1.7 free throws a game. He's not actually going to impact you in a category league in any way. And over that time, he's averaging 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. So you get someone on the waiver who's averaging 2 steals and solid everywhere else. He's not going to hurt you in free throw. I think he's getting a little overlooked. Now, the problem why I'm not leading off with picking up Hamidou Diallo is Detroit only has 2 games. They play the Knicks and the Spurs, and they don't play. Only one of those is even on a streaming day. So if you want to look and pick him up for Saturday against the Spurs, maybe you have him and you can lock them up into next week's 4-game week. I think that might be a valid approach to it, but I wouldn't really recommend picking him up now unless you're super excited about him. And, he's doing all this and Jeremy Grant's out of there. So that's an option, but he might not help you as much this week when 15 teams are playing 4 games. I don't want to recommend someone only playing 2 games because literally half the league is playing double his amount of games. I also think we need to talk about Terrence Mann. He's 38% rostered. Last I checked, it's definitely going up right now because Paul George got hurt. Yep, 38 is still the live number I have here. Terrence Mann, I've got a somewhat complicated relationship with this year, and it's not his fault at all. I was really optimistic on him coming into the season. He was one of my sleepers. I scooped him up in a bunch of leagues, and he didn't quite perform to where I wanted. And finally, after weeks and weeks of hanging on, I finally cut bait. So 38% rostered, and Paul George is out. People are getting excited. He's only up to 38 now, I think, because Paul George is out. He just jumped 17% in the last day. I'm more inclined to say put him on the watch list, but I think realistically, strategically, that's what I combined there. That might not be super helpful for you because if he does have a good game, someone else will pick him up. So I want to be wrong on this because I liked him and I think there's a good chance, but he's been playing a lot of minutes, even with Paul George in. So it's not really the minutes that are going to change. It's maybe the usage. But if he's getting 32, 35, 38 minutes a game, and these are matchups he did against Boston, Orlando, Phoenix with Paul George, and he got 10-10 or 16-9 or 17-9. That's fine. That's the realm of these box scores we're talking about for other guys. But these other guys were saying, hey, they're stepping into something because, say, Lowry's out or all the pigs in Miami are out or something. But Terrence Mann's already been doing that. I'm not sure extreme usage is really going to make him go up. And so for me, I was wanted to say, put him on your watch list. I understand if you do that, you're going to miss out on him in all likelihood if he has one big game. Now, on the upside, I'm recording this. He's playing Denver right now. They're in the third. He's got 4 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. It's a nice amount of assists, but that's not the explosive game today. So maybe that buys you a little time until he plays Brooklyn tomorrow. I'm not sure I see it being the explosion. I think I was wrong from preseason. And so I'm tempering expectations. But I would be psyched to be wrong now and he'd be a boom and be worth picking up with Paul George hurt out for, I think the next month he's being reevaluated. And whenever that's the reevaluation timeline, I personally double it till I hear different. So I'm expecting 8 weeks. That's non-scientific method. I just try to set up for the worst case scenario. Just like, Clay, they started saying Christmas and I was imagining January. I updated when I heard it. That was wrong. It looks like it's probably going to be January still with Clay, and we'll be excited to have him back when we can. One more name for the watch list, Josh Richardson. He's only 5% rostered. I would not pick him up right now, but if you've got the ability, I would put him on your watch list just to see what's up. It's been really weird there, and obviously he hasn't been very useful for fantasy yet this year, but he was on the COVID list and he was in Phoenix, and then he came back, played 2 games, and then was out again. So the 2 games, small sample size. If I try to sort by 30-day average of 14 and 7, just kind of see trends and start getting some things to match those up with my game notes. That's my process. So look behind the curtain. Anyway, over 14 days, he's the 32nd overall player. Now that's only 2 games because he got 27, 5, and 4 with 3 steals and 15 and 2 with a steal and a block. And also had 5 threes and 4 threes. But those are really good lines at 32 and 35 minutes, which is kind of what he plays. He's going to average around 30 minutes a game. So those are a little bit higher, but not crazy. I mostly was just shocked that it's all the way down at 5%. I think because he's been out, people have really bailed on him, and he's going to be coming back soon-ish. I would keep an eye on that. Boston's got 4 games this week. You might be able to scoop him up. They've got at least 2 games that are worth streaming. So even if you don't grab him now, just keep an eye. If he comes back, be faster to the waiver wire and see if he's get some more run with Boston. Maybe not. That's why I'm not saying cut anyone for him right now. That's all I got for you. I know it's a shorter list this week. If you've got questions about someone else I haven't mentioned, please leave it in a comment or hit me up on Twitter. Thank you for watching. Good luck winning week 10, which is probably done by the time you've watched it. So I hope you won your week. Get ready to go out and win your week for week 11. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.